Not only did Sandra Bullock steal the show on the big screen with her incredible performance, but her choice to adopt tiny Louis Bardo 14 years ago won the hearts of people everywhere. Fans were captivated by their heartwarming narrative from the minute she welcomed him into her life. But the most pressing concern is, how is Louis doing these days? Get ready to be blown away as we reveal Sandra's incredible adventure with the boy who transformed her life. Sandra Bullock may be a Hollywood star, but she is unremarkable when it concerns her children's upbringing. Bullock has done a masterful job of shielding Louis Bardo from public view for years, so he can grow up normally. But balancing the need for regularity with the sparkle and glamour of Hollywood is hard. Sandra has come up with a novel and motivating plan. From the beginning, Sandra made it very apparent that her first priority was Louis's welfare. She decided he would not be a paparazzi flashbulbs or media fodder when she adopted him in 2010, a few months after a personal catastrophe. Rather than succumb to the trappings of fame, Sandra resolved to provide Louis with an environment where he might flourish. "My job is to protect my children, not parade them." Her interview remarks hit home. But come on, being an A-lister and keeping a child's life secret isn't simple. When Sandra spots Louis in public, she always makes sure they are on good terms. Think of him sitting in the crowd instead of walking the red carpet at award shows. These snippets show how Sandra deftly navigates the spotlight, letting Louis admire her achievements in the workplace without drawing attention to him. So how does Louis feel when he is not in the spotlight? Contrasted with the wildness of Hollywood, Sandra's home is supposedly a sanctuary of stability. Living in Los Angeles, Bullock crafted a universe brimming with affection, mirth, and above all, everyday life. In place of lavish events like premieres and galas, try bike rides, peaceful family dinners, and study evenings. But the real question is, how can one define normal when their mother is a famous figure all over the world? Family members say Sandra's rules are simple. No special treatment, no endless advantages, simply what's needed for a healthy, well-rounded childhood. This parenting technique ensures that Louis experiences life beyond the Hollywood bubble by blending classic ideals with current views. Even though Sandra doesn't see Louis on her social media feeds or on magazine covers, she feels his presence all the same. He reintroduced her to the joys of simplicity, which she talks about often. Described by her as, "He's my grounding force," she previously said about how her relationship with Louis altered her perspective on fame and society. When Louis does, in fact, steal the show, though, what then? No matter where he is, from a charity function to running errands with his mom, he always looks and acts quite confident. Still, this young man's tale is far from over. Sandra isn't just trying to protect Louis from danger, she goes above and above. Building his identity and self-esteem is also part of this. "I want my children to know their worth, not because of what I do, but because of who they are," Sandra says, expressing her desire to provide an accepting environment where Louis can thrive and find his own identity, free from the label of Sandra Bullock's son. As a mother, Sandra's dedication is shown by Louis's life away from the limelight. It's more than simply taking care of a kid. She's shaping a future-ready individual. Because of his reclusive nature, though, many have wondered what Louis has been doing in the shadows for the past few decades. You should not miss the response, since it is both charming and illuminating. Gorgeous red carpet appearances and extravagant lives are often what come to mind when we consider celebrity children. Is Louis Bardo Bullock still on the team? Every cliché is being challenged by him. Instead of being straight out of a Hollywood tabloid, Sandra Bullock's description of her kid reads like something out of a touching novel. Because of this, what sets Louis apart? The key lies in his exceptional character. Sandra frequently calls Louis her old soul. In interviews, she talks about how amazed she is by his unusual blend of old-world knowledge and sensitivity. An interesting anecdote involves Sandra and the time Louis helped her through a tough patch. "Mommy, you're not alone," he declared with a strong confidence in his confident little voice. What a wonderful source of solace. A young child saying, "I'll always be with you." However, Louis's profundity goes beyond that. His almost uncanny talent to read people's emotions is something Sandra brings up often. Louis provides quiet encouragement that means a lot when she's had a rough day or is feeling overwhelmed. He seems to possess an innate ability to read people's emotions and anticipate their needs long before they are aware of them. His wit should not be disregarded. Prior to this, Sandra had said that Louis's humor served to ground her. "He doesn't let me take myself too seriously," she pointed out. Although the rest of us think Sandra Bullock is the epitome of class in Hollywood, Louis just calls her Mom. Even more astounding is the extent to which Sandra shaped Louis's moral compass. Louis is remarkably humble for the offspring of an A-list star, despite all the perks that come with the family name. Sandra taught him to be grateful and to do his best. Love, compassion, and humility are three virtues she hopes he develops in him, as she has said time and time again. An Amazing Story is a prime example of this. Sandra noticed Louis showing a younger child the ropes at a playground while they were on a family outing. Though seemingly little, Louis exhibits maturity, empathy, and patience well beyond his years as he assumes the role of caregiver. The real deal, though, is that Sandra does more than just preach the benefits of raising compassionate children. She really does it. Empathy is not only encouraged, but treasured in her household. Louis seems to have fully adopted this philosophy. As a famously kind-hearted child, Louis may leave you asking how he manages to keep his bearings. The reality is that he manages it with elegance. He has been told by Sandra that his value does not stem from her celebrity or wealth, but from his own character. Being the kid of a famous person does not imply sacrificing focus on what truly matters, as Louis's character shows. He stands out in the greatest manner imaginable due to his insightfulness, empathy, and intelligence, all of which surpass his years. However, what is ahead for this remarkable young man? What further facets of his character have yet to be uncovered? As we delve further, we'll find that Louis is more complex than first impressions. The inventiveness of Louis Bardo Bullock surpasses even his admirable demeanor. Louis has a gift for visually exploring the world since he grew up in an environment that valued imagination and individuality. So what is it that he loves? And how does Sandra encourage him? In order to understand Louis's passion in art, we must first examine his background. Sandra has informed everyone that Louis has a constant fascination with construction and DIY projects. As his mother would put it, give him a pile of Legos and he'll build something you've never seen before. Louis's inventiveness and ability to construct intricate constructions are evidence of his limitless imagination. However, we do have more than just Legos. It seems like Sandra has successfully portrayed Louis as someone who enjoys the arts and music. Because rhythm and melody fascinate him, he frequently experiments with other instruments. Just picture it. A young man composing music in a quiet room as his renowned mother discreetly listens. Would you believe that's a movie scene? The way Sandra inspires Louis to let his imagination run wild is what really turns this story on its head. She doesn't dictate rules or have high expectations of others. Instead, she lets him explore on his own and provides him with the resources he needs. That she hopes her kids will be comfortable being themselves in any way that works for them. Louis, meantime, has made great use of that independence. One instance is particularly noteworthy. An anecdote from Sandra's past describes how Louis transformed a plain cardboard box into a magnificent castle complete with turrets and a drawbridge. He enjoyed every step of the way, not just the final product. Louis's imaginative play reveals not just his enjoyment of pretend, but also his perspective on the world, not as it is, but as it could be. However, Louis sees creativity as including more than simply artistic expression. Discovering answers is also important. According to Sandra, he is always coming up with new solutions to common issues. Sandra is always encouraging Louis to use his creative thinking, whether it's to get his room in order more quickly or to prepare for a family vacation in advance. Now we need to know if Louis's passions for art and creativity will influence his career path. It's premature to make a definitive statement, although several possibilities exist. Would you like to become a movie star like Sandra? Is he going to forge a path all his own, perhaps in the fields of music, design, or architecture? No matter what he does, Sandra will always be by his side. The fundamental aim of any parent, isn't it? She has stated, "I just want him to be happy." As we've seen, Lewis's creative spirit is deeply ingrained in his identity, not only a side interest. That's the thing that sets him apart, not only as the son of Sandra Bullock, but as an exceptional individual with great potential. Sandra Bullock is a motivating force in the parenting world, unlike other Hollywood mothers. The glamorous red carpets and Hollywood blockbusters hide a mother's unwavering commitment to instilling in her children the values of compassion, self-reliance, and thoughtfulness. To be more specific, what is it that sets her approach to parenting apart from others? Because Sandra values character over circumstance, she acts in a certain way. She taught Louis and her daughter Layla that success doesn't define you. She also remarked that everyone sees how you treat them. With these words, she created a family where respect and compassion were highly prized. Sandra believes it is critical to instill in her children the value of hard work. Even though she's very affluent, she teaches Louis that nothing worthwhile is ever free. By pitching in with housework and owning up to their mistakes, her children are seeing firsthand how integrity and perseverance pay off. For Sandra, the most important thing is that her children learn gratitude rather than entitlement, she stated. It's about more than simply job and responsibility, though. Sandra emphasizes the significance of forgiving others. She has touchedly recounted instances when she had to reassure Louis that he too is human and that she too makes errors. To her, instilling in children the value of forgiveness is on par with instilling in them the value of hard work. Nobody or nothing is flawless, even life itself. Sandra shares the view that diversity and inclusion are critical components of good parenting. Her 2 African-American children, she hopes, will grow up in a house that celebrates diversity rather than merely tolerates it. She and Louis have a reputation for enjoying books on many cultures and their history. He gains an early appreciation for the vastness of the world as a result of this. What jumps out, though, is Sandra's use of her own life to prepare Louis for the challenges that are to come. After going through some tough times herself, Sandra believes that it is crucial for children to acquire resilience. Her mistakes teach Louis that they are stepping stones to greater success. Sandra is a very involved mother, yet she is careful not to limit her children's independence. "I want them to feel like they can handle the world without me." She views parenting as a calling rather than a power struggle, and she has expressed her desire for her children to be self-sufficient. So how exactly does Sandra's idea equip Louis to handle the challenges that life inevitably brings? The values Mom instilled in him hold the key. As Louis faces life's obstacles, the virtues of kindness, perseverance, and thankfulness will serve him well. The narrative goes on, though. For Louis, how has Sandra's drive to respect heritage and individuality influenced his perspective on life? At that point, this incredible journey continues in its second half. Sandra Bullock is well versed on the significance of one's personality. Amidst a world that isn't always kind, it has been a privilege and a responsibility for her to raise Louis as an African-American child. How can she instill in her kid a deep appreciation for his family's history? Sandra has repeatedly stated her desire for Louis to understand and embrace his heritage. Knowing your history, in her view, is crucial to understanding your present and, by extension, your future. Her goal has always been to link Louis to the African-American community and its heritage. Their bookcases are brimming with works written by Black authors that celebrate resilience and triumph. Sandra watches out for Louis to make sure he can identify with the protagonists in the books he reads. Whether it's discussing current events or reading bedtime stories about notable individuals like Martin Luther King Jr., Sandra never misses an opportunity to help Louis feel more connected to his past. Things that individuals do are also included. Books are simply one part of it. Sandra often takes Louis to cultural events so he may immerse himself in his family's music, cuisine, and traditions. These aren't your average vacations. They instill a feeling of belonging and pride. Louis would benefit from having peers that are similar to him, according to Sandra. She has made a concerted effort to surround herself with educators, mentors, and friends who can provide her a variety of perspectives. Sandra used to say, "I know my limits. I won't teach him everything, but I'll make sure he learns it from the right people." Additionally, navigating America as a black boy is an issue. Sandra has no problem having difficult conversations. The reality, which no parent enjoys hearing, was difficult for her to tell Louis, but she did it. She has stated, "I tell him the truth because I want him to be ready." Despite the pain, these conversations are vital for Louis to grasp the world and his role in it. Sandra's effort has a profound impact on Louis's ancestry and broadens his perspective on diversity. Dissimilarities are not only tolerated but celebrated in their household. Through his interest in many cultures and his willingness to fight for justice, Louis demonstrates a compassionate and accepting worldview. How exactly does Louis get insight into himself and the universe? That he is secure in his identity, knows where he belongs, and values his significance is a simple explanation. Louis's deep connection to his ancestry will surely guide him as he matures. What, though, can this basis do to shape him into the person he is maturing into? There is much more to Louis's tale, so be sure to keep reading. As he matures, Louis Bardo Bullock is the center of attention. This young man is incredible. What does the future bring him? Possibilities are limitless when you have a solid foundation in love, ethics, and being authentic, just like Sandra Bullock's filmography. Is Louis destined for the same type of stardom as his renowned mother, or is there another path he should take? Louis has great potential with his passion to be creative. From his early experiments with painting and music to his more recent creations involving intricate Lego models, he has always had a remarkable capacity for creativity. Is this a portent of your future artistic endeavors? Because of his original thoughts and perspective, Sandra has often emphasized how Louis differs from the others. He has a different view of the world, she pointed out. Could this aspiration eventually lead to a career in architecture, cinema, or design? Louis, though, stands out in more ways than one. Because Sandra instilled in him a strong sense of empathy, he may find work that allows him to assist others. Think of Louis as someone who champions diversity and inclusion. He may be an activist, a humanitarian, or even a leader in that field. He has a natural talent for connecting with and learning from individuals of diverse backgrounds, thanks to Sandra's wealth of life lessons. The possibility that Hollywood will want to hire him persists. A career in show industry wouldn't be out of the question with Sandra's backing and Louis's growing charisma. If he ever wanted to be in the limelight, Sandra would make sure he did it his way, just like she has. The offspring of famous individuals often take one of two paths according to historical records. They either revel in their celebrity or seek a peaceful, happy existence away from the limelight. Consider the groundbreaking work of artists Jaden and Willow Smith, or the revolutionary statement of Greta Thunberg. Louis has a shot at being one of those rare young individuals who make a positive impact through their platform. Then there is the unknown factor. Louis could go in a direction no one expected because he is very interested in many things. An entrepreneur in the technology sector? Is it your day job? On the other hand, what if you were an adventurer who, while traveling the globe, combined compassion with creativity to create something new? Regardless of his actions, Sandra's efforts will undoubtedly benefit him. Her unwavering encouragement, together with Louis's self-assurance and extensive global knowledge, has put him in an ideal position to achieve success in any endeavor. Regardless, will Louis do what his mom does or forge his own path? The response to that query will have to be revealed at a later time. However, Louis appears to be making great strides toward ensuring that his future lives up to the excitement of his youth. The story of Louis Bardo and Sandra Bullock, from his adoption to his remarkable childhood, has enchanted audiences across the globe. What is next for this remarkable pair? One thing is certain, though. Louis has a promising future. How do you see Sandra's path as a parent and Louis's future? Post your thoughts down here. To be the first to know about new inspiring and amazing tales, subscribe to our channel, like this video, and click the bell symbol.